Good morning, guys. I hope you are well. I never go on this early, but honey, I woke up manic. I woke up crazy. Because I had been writing down notes for what to talk about today last night, and then I woke up and I was like, bitch, I'm ready to do it. So I had my tea. And let's just get into it, honey. I feel like Wendy Williams. Basically what I'm so excited to talk about. Thank you for joining. Good morning or good. I don't know what time it is for everyone, but for me it is 10 a.m. And I am super jazzed because Mars is moving into Capricorn, or it has already moved into Capricorn. And this coupled with some other astrological transits right now is going to be such a game changer, and it is what we radically deserve. So I'm going to get into the tea. Also, I just wanted to note that because it's early, I look a little crazy. There's some bags under the eyes. Also, do I not have bags under my eyes? Okay, anyway, the point is that Mars is exalted in the sign of Capricorn, and what this means is that this is a very, for example, if Mars was in the sign of Pisces is an energy that is more reserved and wants to go inward, where Mars wants to move forward. So that would not be an energy that has a lot of synergy. But when it's in the sign of Capricorn, right, Mars is a planet that rules, temper and aggression and moving forward. And when we have it in the sign of Capricorn, there's beautiful synergy because Capricorn is going to ground that energy, right? If we have this drive and this anger and this hunger to go forward, but we're filtering it through the lens of how can I be smart about this? How can I be disciplined about this? How can I actually be logical and not work harder but work smarter? When you mend and blend those two energies together, we're on some unstoppable shit. And so I want to talk about why this is so important. So let me know how January has been for you guys, how the beginning of this year has been for you guys. I know for me personally, and relative to the transits, relative to what I've seen everyone else experience, we've been dragged through some motherfucking shadow work. Really just, especially with that last full moon in Cancer, we had the sun conjoin Pluto. We've really had our fears and our shit kind of come to the surface in a really, really large and loud and no way to ignore it kind of way. And it was one of those things where we were being faced with, how have I been standing in my own way? Because the thing about Capricorn is it being the Saturn ruled planet, the Saturn rule sign, it's always going to let us know how we are the ones that are holding ourselves back, how we are our own enemies, and how we've been standing in our own way. So all this energy that we've had in Capricorn and all of these transits beforehand have really shown us where did you learn this limiting belief regarding your power, regarding your sense of self-worth, regarding your deservingness? Where did you learn this? What did you experience? What form of rejection taught you this thing about yourself? And we've been sitting in our shit. We've been sitting in some triggers. We've been sitting in some fears. We've been answering the call and having the beautiful rewards of it. But we've also kind of we've been looking at our shit. And so I want you to know that if you've been embarking on any shadow work, and when you embark on shadow work, you really want to look at the root of where you learned certain things, where conditioning taught you something about yourself. And that's a really difficult but important and necessary and cathartic process. And I've been encouraging everyone to do it. However, you can kind of get stuck in the old narrative and the old story and my daddy hurt me, my mom abandoned me, this person rejected me, this heartbreak taught me something about, my body, whatever story birthed any limiting belief that you felt has held you back. We have been invited to look at it. We've been invited to review it, to mend it, to hug the old you, to do whatever it is that you needed to do. However, Mars in Capricorn is saying, okay, bitch, you know where it stemmed from, you know what happened, you learned from it, you deconstructed it, sick. Let's let that story be that story, and now let's stand in a sense of empowerment where we make actionable steps, where we take actionable steps and make a disciplined plan to now rewrite a new story, to now honor our worth, to now understand, okay, I learned that this thing happened to me and it taught me that thing about myself, sick. I got it. I'm going to process and sit through the emotions that come with that. But Mars in Capricorn is and what are you going to do now? So understand that we are back. We are back. We are back to moving forward with new eyes, with new lenses, with a fresh energy of I understand now. I understand the role that I am playing in living life safely or living life below my own potential. Because the thing about it is that not only do we have Mars moving into Capricorn, which I can't stress enough, this is so fucking good for us, but we have Uranus already went direct, and we have Venus going direct. just never been more grateful for a transit. This Venus retrograde, let me know how this was for you guys, but it was absolutely insane because it really, really, really highlighted the discrepancies and the ways in which our relational dynamics did not honor our worth on a romantic level, on a platonic level, on a professional level, on a familial level. And it really was this like retrograde season that called you to figure out if you have any discomfort surrounding placing boundaries and honoring your boundaries. That was the transit that was going to force you to look at, where does that discomfort come from? Where does a limiting belief regarding me having or being deserving of boundaries stem from? And so like Venus retrograde really was, it was happening for us. Everything is happening for us, but like it going direct is the relief that we needed. But understand that we cannot let that season go in vain. We really have to look at, what did I learn? What did that teach me? And how can I now, working alongside Mars in Capricorn, which will be, Mars will be in Capricorn until April 7th. How can I work with that to now stand in a firmly rooted essence of my power, right? Because the thing about it is that Capricorn being Saturn ruled, it's not going to do no surface level shit. This isn't like some healing that's like, you know, Venus and Taurus, babe, spoil yourself, enjoy yourself. Like Mars and Capricorn and all of this. I mean, we have a Capricorn stellium. There's so many planets in Capricorn right now. It's wanting to like build like roots in deep into the ground when it comes to like, what have you learned about your power, about how you are standing in the way of your own power, and how can you get out of your own fucking way? And there's like no pity party happening here. You had permission to be in any form of pity party for like the beginning of January. Now, especially with Mars and Capricorn, it's like, listen, if you want to sit on the couch and cry about how like someone hurt your feelings in the 3rd grade and how now you think that you're like unworthy because of it, that's sick. But like, we're ready to take actionable steps when it comes to discipline and commitment to self. So of course, Capricorn being Saturn ruled, it's all about discipline. It's all about commitment. So like really, really, really be hyperactively aware. Oh, thank you. I'm glad that it's resonating. Be hyperactively aware of what you are putting your energy towards right now. Like what people, what ideas, what projects, what relationships, what commitments are taking your energy, and how can you cut off where it doesn't need to be going and resource it right back to yourself. This is be in your bag era. I cannot stress it enough. And being in your bag is relative to A, where Capricorn rules in your chart, but also like B, just where do you want to see growth? Where have you learned through this shadow work that we've all embarked on that you are limiting yourself when it comes to being in full potential? And how can you now redirect all of that energy towards being so sharply committed and disciplined when it comes to investing in yourself? Louder, honey, I can't say no louder, baby. Let the words speak. Because the thing about it is that like we don't realize how much we are forfeiting to ideas, to narratives, to others, to things that are not actually fueling us back. And Capricorn is saying like, listen, you need to be in a space where you are like, is this nourishing me back? No, I'm not showing up for it. Like, am I not putting the same amount of energy towards myself? No? Okay, well, then I'm going to redirect it back to me. This is like self-investment time. And the thing about it is that with it being in Capricorn, we are setting such a firm foundation for the rest of this year. Genuinely, that like the actions that you take, the routine that you implement right now, the way that you discipline yourself to stand in your full potential right now is going to set such a precedent for the rest of this year and just like, honestly, this next era, right? Because we're in, with the lunar node switching, we're in a new era. We're in a new chapter of our lives. And we really needed that shadow work to look at what beliefs, what inner dialogue have you been feeding? Where have these certain actions, like what fears did it stem from? What like situation, what form of rejection taught you this thing about you? And like, how can you honor it, look at it, feel it? But like now, like, okay, write a new story. The thing is, Saturn, ruling Capricorn, I've said it so many times, is a planet that rules many things, but it also rules karma. And so this is an era where A, we're looking at the ways in which our own karma has affected us. And like, I'm watching that play out very viscerally in my life and I'm taking accountability, but also it's a time to rewrite our karma. It is a time to make new choices. I don't doubt for a second that Venus retrograde probably presented to you similar themes and situations that you have experienced before. And it was asking of you, are you ready to take the choice that aligns with who you have decided to evolve into? If you didn't, you're reaping some of the consequences of that. And if you did, you are now standing at a point in your life. I mean, regardless, you're standing at a point in your life where you are being handed back your own power to say, hey, you can have healthy boundaries. You can make a routine and honor discipline when it comes to fueling your power and standing in your power. And that is going to look different for everyone. Like I said, please check your charts. And if you ever want to do a one-on-one with me and see where Capricorn rules in your chart, see what is kind of being reworked right now and what's asking to have more commitment. But this can be work stuff. This can be like mental health discipline. For me, it's showing up as like, I really need to commit. I mean, it's in my second house. So like I'm recognizing how my relationship with money and like my beliefs surrounding money needs to be revamped. But also second house rules self-worth. And I'm recognizing the ways in which I've dishonored my sense of self-worth to like appease others, particularly romantically. And I'm like, oh girl, no, not this. So I spent all the time looking at like, okay, it was my daddy abandoning me. And it was like this one instance with bullying that I had. Hi, thank you for joining, my love. Like I did all the wallowing. And now Mars and Capricorn is like, okay, cute. We've done that. What are we going to do now? How are you going to rewrite your own story? How are you going to reset your karma? How are you going to stand in the leadership role of your life and choose what happens next? We're really being passed back the baton. There's forward movement again. We were in a period of stillness, of stagnancy. Also, there were things that you were wanting to kind of come forward. Mind you, we do have Mercury retrograde still, retrograding it up until the 3rd of February, but that's very soon. So understand that we're stepping back into a place of fluid forward movement. So it's important to look at like what forward is. Hi, Showing, thank you for joining. So Mars and Capricorn is honestly that fucking bitch, because if anything, it's we need to have that Saturn ruled like stern voice that says, victimization was cute in the beginning, right? Like Cancer full moon really wanted you to kind of sit in your own ship. And now it's like, are you ready to actually take the action that aligns with who you said you have evolved into? Like if you really have done this work, if you really looked at who you are when you were in your fullest potential, are you ready to actually align the choices that you make, the things that you are nurturing? And are you willing to give yourself the energy and the discipline that you've been giving everything else? Are you willing to give that to yourself? Do you feel deserving of giving that to yourself? Do you feel deserving of committed to your morning routine, or to writing a chapter of your book every single day, or like actually feeling like the plans that you're making for yourself are like you're capable of computing them? Like, can you actually make the commitment towards loving yourself? Which is a crazy thing to ask yourself, but journal on it, babe. So let me check my notes. But honestly, I think, yeah, like I said, Mars being a planet that's impulsive and that's hot-headed and that kind of controls our aggression towards moving forward. That being in the sign of Capricorn, which is so calculated, so grounded, and so, it's like I said, this is an energy that's all about working smarter, not harder. And so this is like, we're not interested in winning battles, we're interested in winning the war. And so you want to figure out like what game plan. This is a beautiful time to make a game plan for like this next year, this next era, but like ultimately, how am I going to move forward in a way where I honor my energy reserves? And maybe this looks like committing more to rest. I think we can make action seem like we need to be more out there, we need to be more accessible. But like for me, it's showing up in like, I need to be more reserved and I need to actually have like less accessibility. So understand how being more committed to your needs looks like for you. But ultimately, it's like, are you ready to actually make the commitment? Do you feel deserving of making the commitment? So do you need to honor solitude? Do you need to honor routine? Do you need to honor just belief in self? What does being in your bag mean for you, honey? Because this is being in your bag era. And yeah, this is foundation building time, especially financially. I mean, obviously, of course, like I said, whatever house it rules for you is going to sort of denote how Capricorn is showing up. But ultimately, Mars does kind of rule like our work drive, and Capricorn is a sign that really does need stability and security. So if there is a way to revamp the way in which you experience your own sense of stability and financial security, now would definitely be the time to make some like money goals, and also to look at like, okay, I've reviewed the ways in which I've, garnered limiting beliefs surrounding money. How can I now make choices that honor me respecting money, whether that means budgeting or whether that means splurging on yourself more, allowing yourself to receive money, look at your relationship with money. And I saw this tweet and I was like, I have to read this out loud. Someone said, Mars is now in Capricorn. Here are 3 things to remember. If it bothers you, speak up about it. Period. Believe actions outside of words. Period. And lastly, your only enemy is yourself. This is really get out of your own way energy. So understand that we are now in an era where we are making choices. We are moving forward. We are honoring what we have learned. We are honoring what our shadow work has taught us about ourselves. And we are standing in a position of empowerment. We are no longer asking for others to choose us. We are no longer performing for opportunities to choose us. We are making the choices. We are now the gatekeepers of our energy, of our time, and we have such a firmly rooted understanding of our power. So if you don't feel like that resonates with you right now, you're really being called to review why that is, because this is not an energy that you want to pass up. Mars in Capricorn, it can be so beneficial if you work alongside it. If you're not working alongside it, it can overwhelm you. But if you understand that you are so capable of building the life that you want, by reviewing all the things that you have been shown, have taught you limiting beliefs about yourself, and have colored an inner dialogue or kept you in cycles that are, rooted in stagnancy. If you've looked all of that and you can now derive actionable steps towards undoing that and making new choices, this next era is going to be golden for you, babe. So that's basically the update on Mars and Capricorn. It's exalted. So it's just, this is a really good time. Also, shout out to Venus finally stationing direct, because that retrograde really took me out. I'm sending you all my love. After this, I'm really going to make like an action plan for like how I'm going to be my bag. I'm not even going to be in my bag. I'm going to be my bag, genuinely. And I'm going to make financial goals. I'm also going to make like self goals. In terms of like, how am I going to honor routine that makes me feel good? Where do I need more room to play? Do I need more discipline? Ultimately, like if I can just if I could summarize what this entire thing is, it's how can you commit to yourself deeper? Where do you need more commitment to self? Fuck everything outside of you. The thing is, whatever you are chasing externally and wherever sources of validation you are desiring from an external world, understand that if you pour all of that energy into yourself, into deepening into yourself, into gifting yourself what it is that you are seeking from the external world, those things are going to like be attracted to you. You're going to like align vibrationally through your frequency of knowing that like I actually don't need to resource any of my validation from anything outside of myself. And once you return that commitment and that discipline to self, everything that you are desiring on an external surface can find you quite easily. So understand that like this is just commitment to self time. You did the shadow work. You understand what choices are in alignment with you standing in your power. Now you're making those choices. You're honoring a routine that honors those choices. And you're standing in your power, babe. And I say this as like someone who feels literally like the embodiment of death and decay. But honestly though, especially with the sun conjoining Pluto last week, if you are sitting with any discomfort, and this is me talking to myself, if you are sitting with any discomfort when it comes to specific stories ending or, things shifting or just like a general sense of discomfort, understand that that is the death of an old mindset, of an old you, of an old era, right? Especially with the lunar node switching, there's like an 18th month story that kind of like is coming to a close. And like grief and growth can exist in the same breath. You can grieve a story that you were attached to. You can grieve a relationship or a thing. And you can also understand the way in which you are being taught such a vital lesson in regards to your growth at the same time, and how you are stepping into a new story, and how every death is a rebirth, and how every ending is a beginning. So understand that like if there's any discomfort that's happening right now, it's because there's an old version of you that's dying and it needs to die. And the future version of you, the you that reaps the benefits of the choices that you are making in alignment with your worth right now, and the things that you are ending in alignment with your worth right now, is looking at you like, oh shit, she at that part. She got it. Don't worry. Like once she gets on this side, once she breathes the sigh of relief and standing in her empowerment and her sense of self and reaping the rewards of standing in her empowerment and her sense of self, she's going to realize why it was also worth it. But you may be in that transitional period of like who I was and who I'm deciding to become. And that means, there's a lot of shedding going on. There's a lot of release of like what an old story was and figuring out what the new story is. And so, if you're uncomfortable, sit with the discomfort. Don't bypass it either. Whatever's coming up, like I said, grief and growth, it's all the same, babe. So like grieve the old you, but understand that the new you is so excited and it's so ready for you to commit to them. So like whatever shifts in your routine and your relational dynamics, that will honor who you are deciding to evolve into. Whatever those are, it is time to radically commit to them. Radically invest in yourself. Make investments in yourself. Make investments in your dream. Hire a personal trainer if that's what this is showing up for you as. Like, be more intentional with like the meals that you're cooking yourself. Be more intentional with like the time that you spend when you're not working, right? So if you're like a like chronic social media scroller, like commit to going outside, commit to actually like feeding and nourishing your mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual health. So yeah, I hope that I've like driven how potent and important this energy is, and how if we work with it, it can really be the catalyst to our up leveling. You know, that shadow work, we can get stuck in it if we allow ourselves to get stuck in it. But Mars and Capricorn is saying, you've heard the story, you've cried over that one experience or that whatever. It's time to put actionable steps towards your growth. So, okay, I'm just repeating the same thing over and over. I'm just manic. But anyway, I love you guys. I hope that you are surviving this well. If you want insight on where Capricorn shows up in your chart specifically, I'm due one-on-ones. So just holla at ya girl. And I'll see you next time. Also, I was going to talk more, but like, shut up. It just, Venus retrograde, if relationships or things ended, let them end. Okay, anyway, bye.